And we back with another edition of the Doin Alright podcast. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. I'm Voch Lombardi, of course, sitting here with Bryan Broaddus. We're here in the Crown Global Studios, headquartered here. Bryan Broaddus, it's just a lovely day to come in here and talk a little bit of football. It's the bye week. Everybody else kind of going on vacation. So we ain't got like another team to break down or nothing like that, nothing, Bryan Broaddus. So like, man, boy, Voch, what we gonna talk about today? Yeah. We'll talk about Quinnen Williams some more.
How about Quinnen Williams?
We'll talk about Quinnen Williams some more. Now, yesterday we gave like a broad overview, just a general idea about Quinnen. We kept it like 12 minutes and got out of there, but I watched a little more film.
Sure.
I even went back to previous years and watched some more film. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a radio TV guy, but this is a tease. Later on in the show, Bryan Broaddus got some advanced numbers to share about Quinnen Williams versus his peers and some of the other top-tier tackles in the league. I think that's going to be fantastic. It's a podcast, so y'all can technically leave if you want to. You can touch that dial if you like. Just make sure you cut the video back on so that you can catch that part. Some people fast forward through it, Bryan Broaddus. But, man, Bryan, I saw something interesting, man, on the internet. I don't know if it was true or not, man. I'm just going to grab this little mom. You know what I'm saying? I saw something on the internet there. And, I just know you got the Illuminati stuff going on. I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about some Illuminati things, Bryan Broaddus. As far as trade deadline go.
Sure.
We came in Crown and kind of, talked about some things. We watched a little bit of film, but I don't think I got all the Illuminati business down about the trade deadline stuff. In your opinion, how in play were the Cowboys about the Minkah Fitzpatrick stuff? I know Cowboy fans, we can get a little greedy, Bryan Broaddus. And that's all right. On yesterday's show, we kind of previewed the idea that Minkah Fitzpatrick could have been on this team. We just haven't come back and properly addressed it since then. Yeah. Bryan, in your Illuminati circles on your golden phone, were the Cowboys in that race? How close were they to that race?
I got to the point, Voch, where people were kind of giving me ideas like, hey, listen, heard Dallas was offering this, heard Miami was trying to switch it with this, and all those things. And then I reached out to my guys with the Cowboys, and basically I got that famous line that they like to give me. That's news to me. So, yesterday we were chasing a bunch of things, and those things, it's all really cool and fun and all. It makes it interesting work, but the nuts and bolts of it, though, the Cowboys, I don't think, were into that Minkah Fitzpatrick arena. I think there were a lot of people that wanted him to be in that arena. I know we've talked about the safety play here, that it needed to be upgraded. Minkah Fitzpatrick would have done that. But for all the conversations that the Dolphins were having and other teams were having with them, I don't think the Cowboys were involved in that Minkah Fitzpatrick one.
Do you think there was another trade to be made, Bryan Broaddus? Or is it like after the Quinnen Williams trade, which is a humongous trade and a big use of your resources, did Jerry Jones and company hang up the phone and sit back in the chair and take a deep breath, or did they get right back on and try to make a third trade possibly, but it just didn't go through?
Yeah, I think we talk about Quinnen Williams. How about Quincy Williams as well, the Jets, the linebacker, and we later got word that Quincy Williams has been, he was a starter and now has been demoted by the Jets. Big shakeup at the Jets, as we all know, with Sauce Gardner being gone now too. So a lot of things that Aaron Glenn's trying to do this second half of the season for them. But the Quinnen Williams one, they were trying to kind of put things together where the Williams brothers would be here in Dallas. Damn. The Jets wouldn't make that happen. I think the Jets wanted more than the Cowboys were willing to part with at the time, and that's why that one didn't go down.
Okay, so that's massive as hell. Okay, so just to be clear, Bryan, you saying that the Jets been benching Quincy?
They're going to bench Quincy Williams now.
What they benching him for?
It's why would you trade Sauce Gardner? Why would you move on? The Jets. I think the Jets are in a mode right now where they realize that they're not a good football team, and they're interested in seeing. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know. I mean, sure. You and I studied the Jets for a week, and then 2 weeks, and I liked Quincy. I actually thought that Quincy was better than Logan, I did too, and so that's where I was. I was trying to feel like, whoa, Dallas was trying to get both these guys.
Yeah.
That to me, now, to me, that was one of those things where I would look at it and I'd go, "Wow!" I'd be a little nervous. The fact that I really liked both the players, It'd be if like I've told those guys over there, I'm like, hey, I love both those players.
Maybe you're missing something.
Maybe I'm missing something, like kind of lining up what the Cowboys are looking at.
I guess my line of questioning comes from, and you ain't on trial, Brian, bro. We ain't in court. I guess
No.
I guess my line.
I don't know why they wouldn't play the guy either.
My line of questioning comes from Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner got traded.
Yeah.
But they ain't get benched.
Right.
They're good players.
Right.
I think Quincy's a good player.
I think he is a good player.
You saying he got benched?
He get benched.
Let us get him.
Oh no, that's
kind of where I'm going with.
I think the Jets actually, if you look at winners and losers of the draft, you could go either way with the Jets. You could say they're the winners by picking up the draft capital, or you could say they're the losers by they got rid of really some outstanding players.
They're best players, yeah.
But that's kind of where this is all at right now, is when you're in that situation where you're a team and initially, I do believe this though, Voch. I believe that the Cowboys wanted to trade Micah Parsons to the Jets for Quinnen Williams and the picks. Yeah. I think they wanted to do that, and I don't think the Jets' salary cap allowed them to make that trade. But I think the Cowboys went into this with the plan of trying to get Quinnen Williams, and it didn't materialize, and then Green Bay stepped in with their offer, and then we got the famous line from Stephen Jones, "Oh, we feel like we fixed the run defense now," which we all know was completely false.
Yeah.
But they did get Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark has been, later, as you tease, later in the show, we'll get into where all these numbers, when you start to talk about Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and Oso Digizao, where do they fit with some of the other top defensive tackles in the league?
Man, it would have been nice to get Quincy up here, too.
Oh, I know. It would have absolutely been nice.
I mean, there's always the off-season free agency stuff.
Sure.
Hey, man, come play with your brother. Quit.
Yeah.
So the Tyree Wilson stuff kind of fell through too, right?
Yeah, that was something that we I know when we were at the game working Monday night that there was some talk about Wilson and his availability. And so we were kind of putting together, I know myself, Bobby Belt, we were all talking about that among ourselves. And we were even, it was getting down to the opportunity of maybe trading for Chubb with Miami. And then so we're working that angle. And then all of a sudden it's, no, don't think about Chubb anymore. We're not going that direction. So it's like, okay, well, then you go with Wilson. And then the more you dived into Wilson, there was some talk about pre-draft coming out of Texas Tech. There were questions about his foot and an injury. And I remember very vividly one time we had a situation when I was with the Cowboys where there was a guy named Shawn Rogers that played with the defensive tackle with the Lions. And we got in the second round, and Jim Maurer, the trainer, is telling Jerry, Jerry wants to draft this Shawn Rogers. And in the middle of the draft, he goes, Jim, tell me again why I can't draft this guy. And then he went into the whole thing. He had a bad toe that had a pin in it and all those things. And Shawn Rogers ended up playing a pretty long time, so it was one of those things where, the trainers and they have their ways of saying, hey, I wouldn't take this guy, but, and I think that maybe with Wilson, you're in a situation where that foot thing might have come into play.
Brian, we had some time to think on it. When you emotional as hell, boy, we can make content about Quinnen Williams and just scream at the camera all day. But at some point, we got to stop and take a deep breath and think logically what's going on here. Brian, listen to national media. A lot of them characters feel like they haven't been watching film on the boy, Quinnen Williams. And that's fine. That's fine. I think the Cowboys have a good idea. I think Cowboy creators, you and I, we have a great feel about brother Quinnen Williams. How do you think, what's the improvement look like? The common sentiments around the national media is that, hey, man, one guy's not going to make a difference. And I heard y'all had an interview with Mark Schlereth, I believe, like that. Yeah. And boy, he ain't cared nothing about the idea that Quinnen Williams. It's interesting because they all like, oh, man, Quinnen Williams, fantastic player. But it ain't like he gonna help the Cowboys though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just interested. I'm interested how people can put both those sentences together. And maybe it's just me being optimistic, but on the same token, they'll be like, hey, Michael Parsons would have made this defense much better. I think Quinnen, different position, different roles and things like that. But I definitely think there's a way that Quinnen can make this team better. Bryan, what do you think the impact's going to be for Quinnen Williams here?
I think that Quinnen Williams' impact is going to be a very strong one. And you can't tell me that this guy, and when you dive into the tape, when you dive into all the metrics, we always like to talk about just the eyeball test. Those things that when you watch a guy play, you're thinking, man, this game will translate into, with this scheme or with this guy or with, playing next to this guy, it will translate into something better. I think Quinnen Williams, when you watch him play, he is a dominant player. And that's what the Cowboys really, really need inside. They need a dominant player. I think there's some times where Kenny Clark has looked good doing it. I think there's some times where Kenny Clark has needed some help around him. He hasn't always got that. But I think there's been times where the improvement we've seen Kenny Clark do some things where, okay, cool, that's great. But I think with Quinnen Williams, if you looked at the way that offensive coordinators have to scheme, they were doubling Oso Digizua. There's some games early in the season where you see them clearly, Oso Digizua getting doubled and doubled and doubled and leaving blocks on Kenny Clark, single blocks, Jay Toia, single blocks, Mozzie Smith, single blocks. They didn't really respect your one technique like that, or they didn't really respected your three and felt like they needed to eliminate that guy. But this is where I think that Quinnen Williams is different. You watch his win rate against double teams, whether it's run, pass, it's very impressive. And I think that's the element he brings. Yeah, you try and double him, he's still finding ways to win at the point of attack.
I think, Bryan, first and foremost, you just get like somebody just going to tear everything up on the inside there. Yeah. I think that's like the first go at it. And maybe not lately with Broncos and Cardinals, right? Mm-hmm. But maybe our offense would be a little better. Those games go a little different. All this stuff is like connected and game flow stuff. But you feel like you're just a couple of possessions or a couple of plays away from some of these games going totally different. I think Quinnen Williams is worth some of that stuff. I was making some of the idea or some of the thoughts yesterday, proclamation and all that. That I think the Cowboys can play with less auxiliary guys around the line of scrimmage now.
Right.
And that'll help the run and the pass. Like I think Quinnen fits Flus's scheme perfectly.
Right.
Like a glove. Logan Wilson was going to be happy to have him. Overshown's going to be happy to have him. But I think the DBs too, Bryan, because you're going to be able to drop another guy back there to kind of help out with some of that cloud and cover type stuff. But more importantly, like if Flus wants to rush 4, man, like normally you'd be rushing Mozzie out there. You know what I'm saying? Mozzie be a guy that'll be rushing from the from the 1-tech, 3-tech spot, wherever you got him at. Like Quinnen Williams is a nice rushing defensive tackle in there. Even if he's not sack guy this year, he's big pressure guy this year. I did go back and look at some of the numbers, Bryan, because one of the big talking points around Quinnen was that his pass rush numbers have gone down. His run numbers are up, which I'm happy about that. His run numbers up. Cowboys need that the most. Do you think that losing White Cotton and maybe changing systems and Aaron Glenn coming in, maybe you think that changed something a little bit for him, Bryan? Possibly?
I think there's when you're looking at, when you really, as you mentioned, when you dive into the numbers and you look at pressures and you look at these defensive tackles, and unless your name is Byron Murphy out in Seattle, you look at sacks. I mean, he's the guy with high sack numbers for a defensive tackle with 5. And so now you got all these other guys have 1, 2 sacks, but you look at pressure numbers, and the thing with Quinnen Williams, I mean, his numbers are very comparable to other top defensive tackles around the league that we kind of call pressure players. Could the White Cotton element be a factor? Sure. Could the players around him be a factor? Even more possible there. So I just think, to me, that having this guy and having him back with a guy that he is completely comfortable with, when you start to talk about a coach, and having some better guys around him too, I think will honestly help him even more. I think those numbers, as we see in the second half of the season, I think you'll see more numbers from him. I think you'll see more pressures through the middle of the pocket. That's something that Dallas could clearly use. They're trying to figure out things. You're getting guys going on the edge. You're starting to see Donovan Ezeraku get some stuff on the edge. Man, if they could get something in the middle of that pocket and it's something consistent, then this defense will be better overall. But yeah, the having Coach Whitecotton once again as his coach might be something that he absolutely benefits from.
How long do you think it's going to take him to get properly acclimated to this scheme? I think, if you're a DB or a linebacker, I think they have a lot more to learn and, get used to. Like, Logan Wilson, he's used to playing, different zone looks and things like that. But, Flus probably wants his zone look and stuff to be done a certain kind of way, different, calls and adjustments and things like that. If you Quinnen Williams, you really just got to line up and whoop ass, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah, but the thing with Quinnen Williams is, Voch, what he will do is, and you astutely mentioned Whitecotton. See, this is where all of a sudden that Coach Whitecotton comes into where he can, he's spending time now with Quinnen Williams while everybody else is kind of gone their ways, here for the next few days. Quinnen Williams is meeting with Coach Whitecotton, and they're kind of talking about, okay, think of things this way. Remember at the Jets when we did it this way? Well, this is that version of it. So when you hear this, so at least having his former defensive line coach here to translate for him, I think will help him. You're right about the whip-ass part. That's something that's going to be, important. And that's just naturally how he plays. But you also got to know where there's fits and stuff. I think, too, with this guy is, you could use this guy on twist stunts and the movement stunts and stuff like that.
He moves really well.
He moves really well. And so to me, now if you pair him inside with somebody, like we've seen too many times where in charge, tackle outside. And it just can't get guys home that way. Just haven't been able to do that. But this guy, when we watched the Jets and break down, we had to worry about the twist games, the stuff up front. And Quinnen Williams can do that, and I think that could be an element that the Cowboys could take advantage of.
We broke down some film.
Yeah.
Them numbers look good, by the way, too,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, the numbers looking good on that film, huh, Zach? they look damn fantastic, huh? We broke down some film.
That would be known as hot grease, as you like to say.
Damn, when the grease is hot, drop the fish.
Drop the fish.
Drop the fish. That is indeed.
And always drop away from you.
You drop it away. You
swirl it.
A little twirl.
And then drop it, lay it away.
Patient, you know what I'm saying?
And then you make your own homemade tartar sauce.
Or Mr. Broaddus. If you're really from Mississippi, put a little mustard on it.
A little mustard. Yeah, I figure that. Yeah.
Mr. Broaddus, let me get the golden phone. Ain't nobody calling up.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody calling up. What'd I say? We was talking about the views on the thing. Yeah, okay, cool. The video of the film.
Yeah.
On the film, Bryan, I laid out different formation possibilities.
Yeah, very astutely.
They appreciate you. Different looks. A lot of ways you can make what you do look different. A lot of the things that are the same. Just a lot of things that you could do. And that was in an attempt to try to keep Kenny, Quinnen, and Osa on the field together.
You have done that.
Doesn't always have to be that way. You can rotate some of those guys out.
No.
Bryan, what do you think Flus will do? Not what Broaddus would do, not what Voch would do if I was the coach. What do you think Flus is going to do the first week?
I think for once that maybe they're listening to what we're saying.
They better win some games and listen to us.
I know they get tired of us talking about find the scrub. I know they're probably tired of that one. But no, I think to me we've seen since the Commanders game they're working on this five down lineman. And Voch was telling you how you get the 5 down lineman. You can get it to a 4-3. You can get to a 3-4. You can play 3-3 stack. There's all these different things that you can kind of do and try and get these guys involved. I was talking with somebody yesterday in the organization about this, and I said, hey, who's odd man out? And I said, or do I need to figure that out? And he said, you probably need to figure that out, but our goal is to play all our guys. That's our goal. And so initially, I think you're going to see them try this 5-man line stuff that you've talked about and get all those guys on the field. And then maybe it allows them to have some guys standing up. I mean, it looks like to me Clowney as a stand-up guy looks like a positive player. Ezeraku, we saw him at Boston College when he was standing up. That was a positive player. So it's now, here we are halfway finished, and we remember last year what happened. Remember Mike Zimmer, all of a sudden the defense started playing better. Is it too late? I don't know. I don't know. None of us know that if it's too late. I do feel like, and I asked this question to my guys, Voch, on 105.3 The Fan yesterday. I asked him, are all these changes that you've seen with the addition and then with the guys coming back off injury, is this a team that could be in the, say, from 32 to 25th in defense, or even a little bit better than that?
Sure.
Do you feel that way?
I do, Brian. I think Quinnen is such a dude by himself. I think he's such an impact by himself, and the defense is going to get healthier over time.
It will.
I understand that your defense is pretty horrible in general, but you are running some undrafted free agent safeties out there.
Yeah.
The past couple of weeks, you've been kind of mismatching with some corners, and honestly, Brian, I know who Weezy Bridges is now. I don't remember studying Weezy Bridges during draft season.
No,
but he's they would say rookie Weezy Bridges. I'm like, man, like what? When?
Yeah,
where he come from? You know what I mean?
As you're evaluating 230 players,
230 some odd people, I didn't see Weezy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just a lot of guys that were on the field that aren't going to be on the field moving forward.
Right.
You know what I mean? So hopefully we're going to be in this place, with these guys coming back. It's going to be big changes, what it looks like. You're going to get more from your edges. You're definitely going to get more from the tackles. Quinnen Williams is worth 2 people. You know what I mean? Yeah. If it was simply Quinnen and Osa, you're better. You know what I mean? But Quinnen and Kenny and Osa, Solomon, you can get him in the mix as well. I'd rather them rotate tackles more than rotating ends. I'm kind of, lead them where they at. Let Donovan Ezaraku and Clowney kind of do their thing, right? I just think simply like taking Kenneth Murray off the field.
Yeah.
Huge bump there. And no disrespect to him. Adding Overshown to this thing. We've seen Overshown take over games by himself, Brian.
Right.
He beat the Eagles by himself like last year, Brian.
Yeah.
And just figure out what's going on with your DBs. You're gonna get healthy. You're gonna get your veterans back there. Your veterans weren't perfect, but they weren't flat out awful. You know what I mean? So you could just get better. I think there's a way you can end up being like the 21st.
Yeah, but it'll be noticeably different when we come back and hear and break down film. It will be noticeably different, don't you feel like?
I think the talent of the players raises the floor. It's up to Flus if these guys can live out their greatest potential. You know what I mean? If we spying and we gap exchanging and we stopping the run with less guys and we clouding and covering and we getting turnovers again, like all that's on Flus.
Yeah,
all that's on Flus, but Flus got some guys. Flus has received a large investment from the Bank of Jones.
Yeah.
So I would have to imagine that it looks a little better.
Can I ask you one more question?
Hell yeah,
about
Brian.
this.
Man, please.
Can you give and listen? I'm not looking to do this as something for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not looking to this is like pat somebody on the back here. But honestly, the general manager after the loss to Arizona could have just shut it down, right?
He could have
said, F this, we're not good enough. We're going to keep the picks. I don't want to get better and all that. He could have quit. Does this make you feel any different? And I know Cowboy Nation doesn't feel different about this, but I'll ask you since you're my partner here.
Sure.
Does it make you feel any different about him and his desire to win?
I think the Philadelphia Eagles put a humongous amount of pressure on our general manager.
Yeah, I agree.
Over time, you just kind of see the Joneses just changing their ways a little bit.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I'm not trying. We're not trying to.
Sure,
there are plenty of f-ups here, and he'll admit it. And But I'm just saying, there's people out there that always say he doesn't care about winning.
They give money to the wrong people sometimes.
Yeah,
they ain't perfect,
right?
But at least what I'm seeing from them, we've been in these situations before,
right?
And they'll go sign Bryce Butler and be like, "All right, we finna go win something."
Yeah.
Oh, we got Nolan Carroll. We feel good about Nolan Carroll. We've seen these before, Bryan Broaddus.
Right.
Think about some of the players that the fans are asking about, right? The players be like, man, the fans be like, well, Vice, what about Gilmore? Can we bring Gilmore in here? And they like, man, I don't even think Gilmore good enough for real. I don't think Gilmore can. And I think the rest of the league agrees because he ain't got no job.
Yeah. Samuel's the new one now. Why are they not in on the Samuel one?
I think the Cowboys have a different mindset now.
Yeah.
I think it started with Pickens, Brian.
Yeah.
Started with Pickens. The Cowboys never would have gave up a third for Pickens.
Yeah.
They never would have gave up a third for Pickens. But what I think the Cowboys see these other teams doing, I'll just say Eagles, what they see the Eagles doing, they're not afraid to let somebody go.
Yeah.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson done a fantastic job at safety. Hey, man, I'm just going to let you go and just move on and aggressively attack this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cowboys let some guys go, and we'll love to have them. Tank Lawrence, Jordan Lewis, we'll love to have them right now. Yeah. But damn, we need help at wide receiver. Let's aggressively go get wide receiver.
Right.
Instead of getting George Pickens, Brian, the Cowboys probably would have drafted somebody in the 5th round and be like,
they'd keep pushing Tolbert on us.
Flournoy and Tolbert got to step up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
That's what they'll do, Brian.
Yeah.
But they said, man, go get Pickens. We need the help.
Right.
And I think the whooping that the Arizona Cardinals gave you added to it, Brian. Yeah. Now, to be fair, the Cowboys trying to get Quinnen Williams for a long time.
Right.
Tried to get Quinnen Williams early, but there was some urgency here. You talked to somebody in the front office there, and they was like, man, we were proactive.
Yeah.
Cowboys normally aren't proactive.
See, that's
Cowboys wait till shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They say, man, we picked up the phone and we pursued.
What about the fan base that says they didn't do it quick enough?
We don't always have all the answers. We don't always have all the answers, because I could feel like, well, damn, why didn't we trade for Quinnen in week 1?
Yeah,
the Jets may not have wanted to trade.
They obviously didn't want, because I think that's what Dallas's number one priority was, to go get Quinnen Williams. If they were going for Jets picks, and they were going for Quinnen Williams for Micah Parsons.
Those are the same people that go, hey, well, in the draft, I'm just going to trade back and get some more picks. You need another team to help you do that.
Trust me, I've sat there when that phone doesn't ring.
Yeah,
and your plan is to, let's back up here, and then you take some terrible deal, and then everybody's like going, well, why do you get value?
Yeah.
Well, you asked me to trade back.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys still can be a little slow on the draw sometimes.
I think they can too, yeah.
Kenneth Murray played for a long time, but I think there is some urgency here. Jerry Jones could have just said, because honestly, if Jerry Jones is who people think he is, this configuration of Cowboy team is fantastic for business. We're going to score a ton of points, and we're going to give up a ton of points. It's going to be a good game every week. We're going to be America's game of the week. The rating's going to be good. It's going to be all, you know what I mean? But it's some minimum this time. I give him credit. He says, man, look, we traded Micah. We're not going to sit on these picks. We're going to take a pick. We're going to try to get better. And I think they're going to be even more aggressive next year.
Yeah.
A lot of cap money I think it's going to be a lot of movement. I was on the salary cap website today.
Over the cap? Or Spotrac?
Spotrac.
Yeah.
Terrence Steele making like $18 million. You know what I'm saying? Malik making like $8 million. Donovan Wilson making like $9 million. Like, I'm just looking at some of the numbers. Kenneth Murray making like $12 million.
You started adding it all up.
Started adding all that damn money up. And we got like $20 million in just open space. I think the Cowboys are going to let a lot of these guys walk with that open money. And I think it's going to be some movement.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be some movement.
Yeah. I just wondered because there's a lot of things that we always, and you're right about them being slow when it comes to some contracts. They're too slow, and then others maybe too quick, and then the player evaluation. But I just wondered if, like, coming out of that game, Jerry could have thrown in the towel on that, right?
In the past couple of years, we would have taken that second round pick this year and that next year and just drafted somebody.
Yeah.
That's probably what the Cowboys would have done.
I agree.
Brian, I texted you last night, and I was really curious about some advanced analytics. I know how you get down with your numbers. But I wanted to know what Quinnen Williams looked like versus two sets of players.
Yeah.
His Cowboy tackles.
Yep.
The guys that are on our team, and kind of how did we fare throughout the year in certain metrics and categories, and adding Quinnen Williams to that. How did he do with the Jets? And then take Quinnen Williams versus some of his peers throughout the whole National Football tackles and all that.
If you look at it, and thank you for the homework assignment.
Yes,
I started looking at college players last night too. By the way, Utah's got an offensive tackle you're going to like.
I'll get there.
Yep, I know you'll get there. But yeah, here we are. And so with Quinnen Williams, just going through, and this is something with my next gen numbers that I'm able to do. The teams get a little bit different version than maybe the stuff that folks go out and buy, and so it's a little bit more of a deeper dive on this. But with Quinnen Williams, Voch, I went through and just looked at, and I broke it down in different categories: the total plays, run pass, the tackles, the stops, quarterback pressures, sacks, quick quarterback pressures, double team quarterback pressures, and then how many times that they're double teamed throughout the games and stuff. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about Quinnen Williams, though, he in a lot of these metrics, he is better than some of the top tackles. So you when you have people say, okay, well, Quinnen Williams, he is just like, or he's just as good, or as there's validity to
numbers
that.
And evidence.
Yeah, there's validity to that. It's not just the eye test of, Quinnen Williams, we're watching him play, and Voch is showing you how he's throwing Pittsburgh Steeler guys around, that kind of thing. I mean, it is legitimately, if you look at the numbers and the metrics, and Quinnen Williams has played 347 plays this season. He's played 146 of those against the run, 201 against the pass, 32 tackles at his position, which if you just look at the other tackles that are in the league right now, of the top ones, Byron Murphy has 33 tackles.
We're going to send this to Zach, and he's going to put it on the screen for everybody to look, so we can follow along with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you're in a situation where you got guys like Derek Brown from the Carolina Panthers, 31 tackles. We mentioned Byron Murphy, Daron Payne, 30 tackles, Jeffrey Simmons, 30 tackles. So when you start, that's a pretty damn solid group of guys. Yeah. When you start to talk about guys making
top 2 in tackles on this list.
Exactly right. That.
Gotcha.
When you start to look about the stops, the stops.
Yes, sir.
28 of those stops. All right, now
let's do Cowboys right now, just to let everybody, the
okay. Think about it in this way with Kenny Clark with 15
stops.
Yeah, okay. Kenny Clark has 21 tackles. Mm-hmm. Oso Digizua has 25 tackles. Mm-hmm. So they're all right there.
Yeah.
Stuffs. 28 for Kenny Clark, 28 for Quinnen Williams, 15 for Kenny Clark, 16 for Oso Digizua.
So stops are plays either at the line of scrimmage or behind.
Right.
Kenny Clark at 15, Osa at 16, Quinnen at 28.
Right.
That's a damn shame. Go ahead.
Quarterback pressures. Quinnen Williams at 16, Kenny Clark at 21, Osa at 17 is where we're out there.
Not a lot of pressure there. Not as much pressure from the. But even though Osa should be more of a pass rushy guy.
Should be.
That's kind of who he is.
Should be.
Okay, cool.
Should be.
So our big one take Quinnen Williams is about roughly the same of a pass rusher as we get from Osa and Kenny Clark. And now they're all together. Go ahead.
Right, now they're all together. Sacks, Quinnen Williams has 1, Kenny Clark has 2.5, and Osa has 1.
Yes, sir.
Quick quarterback pressures, those that are less than 2.5 seconds. Oh. Quinnen Williams with 5, Kenny Clark with 7, and Oso Digizua with 4.
That's interesting.
So you would think that with Oso Digizua,
we get more of the quick stuff.
We get more of the quick stuff. But the defensive tackles are those one technique type guys are a little bit ahead of him there.
So how about this? What about stops versus the rest of the league peers? What about those guys, Brian?
When you look at stops around the rest of the league, Derek Brown has 26. How about this one? Jalen Carter, 19. We always think of Jalen Carter being that type of guy that's
your guy.
That's a top guy. But, Quinnen Williams, 16, Jalen Carter, 19. Malik Collins from our back in the day, 22 with him. Byron Murphy, I mentioned him with 28. Jeffrey Simmons with 23. And Kobe Turner from the Rams at 24.
So Quinnen Williams is leading the league in stops.
But look at the stop. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was doing that. My bad. That was the pressures.
Okay.
I messed you up there because I was looking at the wrong column there. No okay. 28 stops.
It's going to be on the screen for him.
So we're going to be. My bad. My apologies. 28 stops for him. 26 stops for Derek Brown. And then you look at Byron Murphy with 25, Daron Payne with 23, Jeffrey Simmons with 23,
right.
And then Vita Vea with 14.
Right.
Is what we're looking at right
So Quinnen Williams, by the numbers, is the best run defending defensive tackle in the league.
Right.
We need that, Brian.
Yeah.
We need that. Something interesting that's been going on here is Kenny Clark has been getting double teamed a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's normally not his game at the Packers. He moves around a little bit. Quinnen Williams also gets double teamed. So can you go down double team numbers?
Yeah, when you look at the double team numbers, as you mentioned, Quinnen Williams was getting double teamed 41% of his snaps. Kenny Clark was getting double teamed 48.7% of his snaps. Osa Odighizuwa is right at 38.2% on those. So the top guys are, you would figure, Jalen Carter is right at about 40.9.
Yeah.
Dexter Lawrence is at 59.5.
And people really saying he's falling off or not as good.
His numbers are not as good as they've been in the past.
But he's getting double teamed the most.
But he's getting double teamed the most out of there. And Jeffrey Simmons getting double teamed about 45% of the time. And then Vita Vea once again at 52% of the time.
So you would only imagine, common sense would just say that Clark and Osa's double team numbers will go down.
I would think so.
Because Quinnen's here.
Because Quinnen's here, right.
You know, Brian, and it goes back to what we were saying early in the year is we run into these situations where they're double the 1 and the 3.
Right.
But that means somebody's edge got to beat tight ends now.
Right.
I think Donovan Ezaraku and Clowney, I think they're fit to beat those edges.
Right.
Early
in the season, I don't think they were.
Yeah, probably.
Remember how early in the season it was like, why? We were breaking down film, and it was like, why are the tackles getting double teamed and the edges aren't winning on the outside nearly enough?
Yeah, it just wasn't happening back then. It's happening a little more now. Yeah. I think Sam still hadn't figured it out, which is why I'm trying to lessen all this rotational stuff.
Right.
But man, Brian, if it's up to me, because I've seen him do it, I play Kenny Clark and Solomon Thomas as some five tech forward stuff.
Yeah,
let them go out there. And if you
now explain for the new maybe the listeners when you talk about a 5 technique.
So 5 tech. So basically, if I'm the offensive tackle, 5 tech would be my outside shoulder. 4 eye or 4 inside would be head up, but a little bit on my inside.
Right.
Shoulder. So it's basically all playing over the tackle type stuff.
Right.
But an end is like the outside gap of a tackle.
Yeah.
The 9 is like way out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 6 is up over the tight.
So, but it's more on the guy is what you're.
It's more so on the guy. Brian, if it's me, I'm taking some of these burstier big dudes we got, Osa and Solomon Thomas. I'm putting them head up over tackles, and I'm just gonna play like that. And then even then, I'll line up Ezaraku outside of that.
Yeah.
I think there's ways to get these guys on the field, and if these other teams want to double team the interior guys, in which Quinnen whoops doubles all the time, but if they want to do that, punish tight ends, Brian.
Yeah,
punish these damn tight ends.
Yeah, if you talk about the quarterback pressures off double teams, Quinnen Williams with 8.
Oh, you got that? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we talked about quick pressures. We'll maybe get into that if you want, but double teams off quarterback pressures or double. So Quinnen Williams with 8. Jeffrey Simmons has 9, and Vita Vea has 11. Those are like your top guys.
Yeah.
So the top 3 guys are guys that are absolutely, that you have to account for. I mean, Vita Vea. You say the name Vita Vea, and you think this monster in the middle.
Yeah.
And then also too with the guys like with Jeffrey Simmons and how he attacks. But yeah, that's those. Double team numbers when you got guys, if you're getting double team 41% of the time and you're still getting pressure out of that says a lot about you as a player.
Man, Bryan Broaddus, I'm just looking at the numbers. I kind of looked at them last night a little bit, but I looked at the very basic version of them. This is very much so telling. Like I said, we're going to try our best to put this up on the screen so everybody can see it.
Yeah.
And screenshot it. You'll have for your own homework there. But all the numbers checking out.
Yeah.
All the numbers checking out as far as Quinnen goes. And then also too, when we get it to you, you all to see it. Quinnen is playing not as many snaps as Kenny Clark and Osa because Quinnen is coming off of a bye week last week, so he's technically played a game less than Clark and Osa have. And just looking at these numbers, he's either right there or even still over them a little bit. So I'm excited, man. By the numbers, Quinnen whipping ass.
How do you feel about the numbers of 396 for Kenny Clark having to play?
I think that's a lot of snaps for him.
I do too.
I think that's a lot of snaps for him, and that might be the reason why the second part of the year he hasn't been as good. I think he's kind of getting worn down in there, which is interesting because I feel like they rotate the damn edges a bunch.
Yeah,
they rotate the edges a lot, Brian.
Yeah.
But keep Kenny Clark fresh now. I don't mind this at all. Which is why I was just saying, like, you don't have to have all these guys on the field at the same time. You can just simply have some guys in there and you get a fresh Quinnen Williams in the game or a fresh Kenny Clark Osa in the game. Rotate those guys out. You don't have to rotate the edges very much. Yeah. But those interior guys, if they're going to be getting double teamed all game like that, it can wear you down.
Yep.
But 396 snaps, and he got what did it 36 more than Osa?
Yeah.
Osa's the guy here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, but
if you look at the top guys though of that, like him, Dexter Lawrence, Chris Jones. Those are the top total play guys.
Well, so we finna get Quinnen some damn reps.
Yeah.
Here, so we can go out there and beat the Raiders. It all starts with the Raiders, ladies and gentlemen. We got Q&A tomorrow, so y'all be sure that y'all tap in with us. We're gonna take your questions and answer them on the show. We love to do that. So y'all please look out for me. I'll be kind of on the social media streets, moving carefully out there. So y'all be sure to just find me and we'll just go from there. Go to our website, crownglobalmedia.com. That's where you can find everything, the audio version. You can find the merch and all this kind of stuff. And go get you one of them.
We got beanies coming too, man.
One of them nice little Jones. Some beanies are on the way as well. That's Bryan Broaddus on VOCHLOMBARDI. We'll catch y'all next time. Crown.